Is Paul. Yeah. I know that you like to think that my wife's a good teacher and everything, but I saw in this footnote in the landmark cases in regard to Nicholson, yeah, the New York Administration for Child Services, ACS, practice of removing children from parents solely because they were victims of domestic violence was found unconstitutional. While this case is specific to New York law, the case has implications for states that treat children's exposure to domestic violence without more as a form of child neglect warranting removal. In regards to Nicholson, yes, 2002, Nicholson versus Williams, yes. Question certified Nicholson versus Scopetta. A certified question accepted by Nicholson versus Scopetta. Now, this exposure to domestic violence, yes. My wife had me arrested on Guam. My sons were exposed to domestic violence in a way that's completely different than Clallam County thought. I did 7 hours of parenting classes. I was obstructed from leaving the territory of Guam. The 7 hours of parenting classes did not constitute domestic violence or child abuse. The prosecuting attorney on Guam issued a no contact order without me having any due process. When I got here, you issued a protection order without any due process to myself. And my sons have been a victim of domestic violence from this county, the United States, yes, and each and every individual that is a mandatory reporter. Now, exposure to domestic violence. Every time you arrested me, you exposed my sons to domestic violence. I wasn't in swim. Somebody made up some bullshit story about me being there. Then you were going to put me in a mental facility, Judge Porter. Do you remember this? The 1077 in 25 minutes. That's domestic violence against myself and my family. I wasn't there. I didn't waive my right to a speedy trial. And this court decided that they would request my presence in court 2 judicial days to explain why I wanted to reschedule a mental health evaluation. Now, when I spent 27 days in jail, my sons have been exposed to domestic violence. Pouch. Because I made videos every fucking day to make sure that they did understand what was. That's right. I made sure that they did understand the domestic violence of this state. Now they're being exposed to domestic violence as I'm making this video because this county and this state won't enforce domestic violence laws. I'm suing you. Do you understand, Judge? I'm suing every judge in the state of Washington, Pooch. I'm suing you for refusing to acknowledge that when you continue to send court notices, yes, to an address where I was informed 5 years ago that if I make contact, I will be arrested for harassment, Pooch. The contact, yes, the authorities will be contacted. Now, every time I continue to make a video and I document that the Sheriff's Department refuses to enforce child abuse laws, this whole exposing children to videos about domestic violence. You keep me homeless because you don't want to get sued. Judge Landis, when I asked you where did you send the notice of the court hearing, you happen to have sent it to a location where I cannot contact the pastor at that location. Now, I would say that I have the right to receive notice of any and all court hearings, yes, but you didn't make sure of that. You would rather expose my sons and what could be numerous other children, could be millions of children, to the effects of domestic violence because of a government that doesn't enforce the laws of the United States. It's a big lawsuit. I can go through every IP address of every video and every email that I put on Facebook or I put on YouTube. Yes. And I can do a rough calculation of the number of children, those 18 and under, that have actually seen these videos. And I can sue this state and every state of the United States for exposing them to domestic violence. Because the exposure of the state in the United States is that you're requiring children to understand exactly how corrupt you are. Now, I'm going to continue to make videos, but for any and all children that this state doesn't realize that they are actually watching the videos. Ooch. Every state of the United States, throughout the whole world, they're watching the videos. And what they're seeing is you'd rather have children exposed to the actual truth of the of the domestic violence than enforce the laws. Now you're getting sued for billions today. Get me every IP address, every email, all documented laws that the state of Washington just could not enforce the requirements of the law. Because I really think that they are watching the videos. I think they are. And any and all persons under the age of 18 that have knowledge of what's going on here, you're exposing them to domestic violence because you're refusing to enforce the laws of the United States.